In 5, 4, 3.
Welcome
to Tenkara in Conversation.
Can't even speak, which is ironic, really.
I had a blank moment there where I forgot what it was called, right up until we started, and then you blew it.
Yeah.
In 5, 4, 3.
Welcome to Tenkara in Conversation.
This is something, it's new, I suppose. We're trying. We've got quite a bit of footage that's not really cinematographic. Is that the right use of that?
I think it is. Yeah. But yeah, it's really the idea is that you get a little bit of behind the scenes, some of the advantages that we've had. And
some of the conversations.
Yeah.
Hence the name.
Exactly.
This one we've titled Road to Akiyamago because it takes place on the road to Akiyamago.
So how did it get the title, John?
We're not just listening. Yeah, it's basically a car journey. Well, it was a long car journey, and by the time I think we get towards the end of it, we still had 10 miles to go.
I think it's difficult for people, if they're watching our stuff, that, you know, if you've seen any of our stuff before, if we show up on stream or we do any fishing or any of the interviews in a location, it's difficult for anybody watching that to have the context of just the process of getting there. And actually, a lot of the revelations, a lot of the information, a lot of the sense of achievement comes from actually travelling to those places.
Yeah.
So it's the journey, not the destination. You know, it's kind of a cliche, but that's really the sense that we want to give with some of this stuff. Particularly when it pertains to a story like that of Akiyamago, a very remote, small hamlet. It's a small collection of settlements. And it's home to one of the very last professional Tenkara anglers from a line of Tenkara anglers that did it professionally to feed themselves and to feed the guests in the guest house.
More about him in a minute.
Indeed.
Well. So this is basically an in-car bit of filming we did where we didn't have any idea what we were going to do with this at the time. We sort of thought, will it be a podcast, but we'll just use it for our own notes when we get back. But I set a camera running in the car. It's a very wide angle lens, so we look a bit distorted. I think when I turn my head, I look like I've got some kind of those strange aliens you get in sort of South America. Yeah, I've got one of those alien skulls going on. But it's a conversation between me, Paul, and Go Ishii about Akiyamago and the general sort of mountain culture of Japan.
And I think it's the shoes off self. It's just us shooting the breeze.
Yeah.
So it's very different from a kind of a more formal sort of piece.
Apologies in advance if anybody swears. It's a relatively long conversation, just free flowing. So it kind of winds around lots of different subject matter. Before we hit play on that, because we'll just let that play. There's not going to be us coming back at the end. No roundup, nothing extra in this episode, but. Later this week, watch out, we've got a mini film that we want to premiere. Just a short film about one of the guys. He's the last Shokuryoshi in Akiyamago. Wonderful man. You may have seen him in a few of our videos before. Kazuyuki Yamada?
Yes, yeah.
Yamada-san, the guy who hunted bears and felled the horsehair lions and tied Akiyamago kaveri. You've probably seen him in episodes. Little short film of his life as a professional angler, let's say, just a little vignette of his
survival fishing,
day-to-day life. Yeah. Anyway, for now, we're going to leave you with the road to Akiyamago. If you've got anything to say, remember, hit the subscribe button. We always forget that.
Professionals.
Yeah, we always forget that. Somewhere down over this side of the screen. Am I pointing the right way?
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've done one of these. Hit the subscribe button, especially if you want to see that little film later this week. Hit the bell notification and you'll get a little sort of notice on your YouTube inbox that the film's premiering now. Without further ado, I'll hand over to Paul if he's got anything else to say, because I'm done.
Run VC.
So tell us where we're going, Go.
Akiyamago! Let's go! Is she go?
Not enough uses of the word go there.
Sorry about that.
Okay, well, we can go again. Both Paul and myself are very, very aware of Akiyamago. because we were slightly enamoured with the fly patterns in there. I think we both had quite a lot of.
It was one of the
good
earliest
experience.
traditional, or definitely Japanese patterns that
Yeah.
kind of got really confident with and had a ton
Yeah.
of success with. I think. And
And
that was from Fujioka-san's
Yeah,
website.
yeah, it had a nice sort of story in the way it's tied. That's almost unique. I don't think we've ever seen anything quite like it in Western tying. So yeah, it's an interesting fly, and it brought us a lot of success. But the only thing really we know about it is the little bit of reading that you can do online. There's not a great deal about Akiyamago.
Certainly not in English. Yeah.
But Go's actually been there before, haven't you?
Yep.
And he's taking us again there now. So do you want to tell us a bit about it? I know there's some fantastic stories we're going to look at while we're there. But give us the kind of the condensed notes, the bullet points, if you like.
Well, the sad story, rather, these people that live in the mountains, they don't have a lot of farmland, so they have to rely on the resources from the mountains and rivers, such as iwana, sansai, bears, boars, and such. So it's a very hard life that these people have lived for centuries. There was actually, and they get a lot of snow in the wintertime, maybe more than 5 meters in some years. And back then there were no paved roads. People weren't allowed to ride horses. That was only for the high-ranked samurais, so people had to travel on foot. So most of the roads that connected these villages in between the villages were these basically like mountain hiking trails, or maybe even less. So when they got dumped in the winter, some of these villages were completely shut out from the rest of the society. There was actually one village where all the family, 7 households, perished. They couldn't survive the winter, and that wasn't that long ago, maybe 100 years ago. I don't know too much about the details. I would like to hear more about that from Yamada-san, who we will be visiting.
Yeah, I mean that's a big part of our trip really, is the research, and it's actually quite nice that I guess you get to see some new things as well, because I imagine a lot of the stuff that you end up showing us is kind of slightly old hat for you, and it's obviously new to us, and we're kind of excited by it. But
Right.
it's kind of cool to make it a bit of a trip together where we can all find out something a little bit different.
Yes, and the lifestyle of these people who practice Tenkara and the need for the practice of Tenkara. And I personally would be interested in doing more research on that as well. So
Yeah, that's cool. I'm looking forward to it.
you all right?
Damn right about the sort of winding roads and remoteness. While we're driving, I'm going to try and film a bit, just when it straightens out. Hey.
Right. So we're now in Akiyamago region. I forget how many settlements or villages there are in Akiyamago. It's not just one village though. There's maybe 6 or 7 homes here,
Right.
10 or 12 here. We'll ask Yamada-san for the details.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm misremembering this, but I'm sure I've read somewhere that there was a cluster of about 5 sort of settlements or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah, like it's Akiyamago is the name for
Yes.
several
And
small.
it sits right on the border of Niigata Prefecture and Nagano Prefecture. I
Yeah.
think some of the settlements are in Niigata and other are in Nagano.
Right.
It's looking very, very windy.
Yeah.
I'm actually sort of struggling to hold my head up straight as you go around some of these corners.
And I like to drive fast, but I'm actually going to slow down. So
It doesn't look anywhere near as fast or steep on camera, but people will get a quick look. So,
Right.
there's a little bit of footage of that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, tell us about the place we're staying in.
It's called Yuzanso, owned by and operated by Yamada-san,
Yeah.
whose family had been in the commercial iwana fishing, Tenkara fishing
Yeah.
for, I think, 3 generations, I believe. I actually haven't met him yet. I've seen him on TV with Ishigaki Sensei. And I've read about him in books. So, well, let's find out.
Yeah.
Don't ask me too many questions. Whoa. Yeah, this is getting close to where I usually like to come fish.
Yeah, it's getting a bit dark under these trees as well. We're in quite a tunnel of trees right now.
Yeah.
Looking at the screen, you can barely see our faces.
Yeah, and there's a little bridge, across the river. And last year when I was here in the spring, right in the middle of the bridge, there was a big, you know, bear scat right in the middle of the bridge. And I was like, and it looked pretty fresh.
Yeah.
You know,
That answers that question.
Did it have any Tenkara angler's bells in it?
No. And it was just all full of seeds. Yeah.
Black bears around here. Yeah.
Japanese black bear, yes.
Yeah.
So it's just if they do attack, we're in for a minor tussle, maybe being hospitalised, but not in
Right.
the cemetery.
Well,
necessarily.
well, last year I think 7 people were killed by
Black
Japanese
bears.
black bears.
Okay,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
inspiring
so-
confidence.
Yes. Well, they're pretty tame compared to the black bears in North America,
Yeah,
and definitely compared to grizzly bears.
and of course you guys have got the brown bears further north.
Up.
Do you get any brown bears this far south?
Oh no, just up in
Just
Hokkaido.
in Hokkaido.
Hokkaido, yeah, they're just like Alaska, and they don't get big like the Kodiak bears, you know,
Yeah.
but they're still brown bears. Oh, somebody's calling me,
Cool.
and I'm not gonna answer that because right now I'm driving and I'm on camera.
You'd never do such a thing.
Never. Why would I?
It's quite a valley we're going through, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I fish down there. Where I like to fish is right down there. Before the
Amazing.
dam. Yeah.
Oh, this view's got to be shared. It's going to go crazy on the exposure for a bit, guys.
Oh, sorry, we're gonna
that's
come to a
okay.
stop really quick.
But right.
Okay,
Can't see
let's
anything.
go. And it's pretty cold.
Apologies for the
It's
brief
chilly.
interruption in signal.
Well, little bumpy.
Very bumpy.
Yep. Well, these roads get destroyed by snow and snow
Yeah,
plowers.
this is looking more remote now by the meter.
Whoa. Oh, they're building a new. That's the snow covered. So that's for, to protect the road from avalanches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, this is awesome. And now we're in the tunnel. I could probably reposition the camera.
Right. Okay. Whoa.
Oh. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that break. Things got a bit wild. I was struggling to hold the camera straight. And,
A lot of these mountain roads, even today, they're not even wide enough for 2 cars to pass
yeah.
by. So
Yeah.
you have to be kind of careful. I'm gonna focus on driving, so you guys.
Yeah,
don't-
you go for
Okay.
that because
Yeah,
I mean
so-
I'm just sort of taking in the
yeah,
view
you
now.
need to make
We've-
sure you go home in one piece.
Yeah.
I mean,
Unless you
we're
don't
kind of
want to.
only a few minutes out of the previous little town we came through, and the terrain is definitely much more
Oh yeah,
kind of remote feeling.
And that's Nakatsugawa, Nakatsu
Okay.
River down
Yeah.
there, and it's all milky, right? So it's all
Snow.
lots of snow runoff in there. Yeah,
yeah.
snow melt.
I guess one of the things I was looking forward to finding out about, I mean, the little bit that I've seen of Yamada-san on video is his horsehair lines that seem to be level
Yeah.
lines, not tapered, and quite long as well, so like 6 meters or so.
Probably 5.5,
yeah.
6 meters maybe.
So again, that's just something totally different, isn't it?
Yes, I don't think many people know that there are both level and taper lines made by horsehair.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you were to talk about a furled level line online, you'd probably get some smart ass correct you that actually they're 2 different things.
Yeah.
When, it's quite a confusing sort of thing to imagine. Because normally the purpose of furling is to be able to create a taper. That's
Yeah.
how you would do it in the West, making a Western fly fishing furled leader.
Yeah.
Whoa, which way?
Haha.
Oh, the other way.
Decisions. But yeah, when we're talking about a craft that's not many generations away from needing to produce lines out of horsehair out of necessity,
Yeah,
rather than
yeah,
any
yeah.
sort of artistic or aesthetic sentiment for the old traditions. It was all they've got access to.
Actually, it's something I meant to mention the other day when we were talking. Go when you were saying most people don't back up when they have a fish and they have a long line.
Yeah.
and they don't back into the quiet water and sort of actually
Right.
just use the feet to get control.
Yes.
But I've seen that again, a small clip of Yamada-san fishing, and he does exactly that. And he has that long, level horsehair line, it's a traditional setup,
Right.
and he backs right out the river.
And the number one thing is that you get that fish out of that zone as quickly as possible, so you don't spook other fish,
Yeah,
right? Because
Yeah.
they have to catch fish to make a living, so
Yes.
they really thought this through, you know. And when you're working with a level line, you can't really use the reel to shorten the line, so that,
yeah,
you know, that's why they say you have to fish Tenkara with your feet.
yeah, yeah. And I guess it is worth stressing that, you know.
Does it widen out just there?
Okay, maybe I'll. Oh,
The spot, yes.
so I'm gonna try to get as close as I can to the left side.
Okay.
Hopefully, we don't end up in the bottom of the valley.
It is looking sketchy as hell.
Because that's really steep and deep down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't have to tell me I was looking down here.
Well, that's
Gonna join the
most of the
wave.
time when you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on,
That's like
photo up.
That's like a good 200-meter drop.
Let's just get a shot of that for the guys at home. Let's see.
Pop the window down.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Would you like me to get closer to the?
To the edge? No, I think
No?
we're good where we
Oh,
are. Yeah, it's a wild drop right down there. I was much closer to it when you pulled over there. But, yeah, that's one hell of a valley. And we've just driven all the way up this, so as you're looking down the valley now, when we started recording, we're probably just around the corner in the bottom there.
And we still have about 10 miles to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we've climbed some fair old altitude already.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, this place is really remote because we call it the island of the land because it's just you can't get there and it's so
Yeah.
secluded and remote.
Mm.
Are we ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess the thing I wanted to flag up was that Yamada-san isn't really in the business of Tenkara for a hobby.
No.
So it's, you know, food.
I don't know if he does that. Well, I'm sure he still fishes, but maybe just for the people that stays at his inn.
Yeah. But I guess here's where I'm going with that. It's that, you know, catch and release is pretty new in Japan anyways.
Yeah.
And so the cultural handling of fish is more as a commodity than maybe a kind of
well, because the Japanese didn't eat four-legged animals until rather recently. You
Yeah.
know, it was, I think, 60s or 70s that it became that, when it became popular to the general public.
Yeah.
So fish protein was very crucial.
And I guess calcium as well from the bones.
Yeah. So Japanese average height has grown some like 2.5, 3 inches maybe.
Wow.
It's gone from like 157 for men in the 1940s to like 170, I think. That's more than a few inches, huh? So because our diet has changed so much.
Yeah.
Where am I going? I think this way. Okay.
Probably just over 4 inches, isn't it? Between
Yeah.
4 and 5 inches.
Which is an average, is huge.
Yeah.
A lot of variation on that. Getting some more height.
Yep.
Ready for your ears to pop?
Yeah, that is steep now.
I actually haven't been up this far up, so.
Cool. Again, another sort of small detail, but I couldn't quite tell from the footage that I've seen, was there seemed to be some way in the way that Yamada-san ties his kaveri that he seems to attach the thread to the tip of the hackle when he's winding. Also, the stem.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
And those guys were so good. I don't think they lost too many flies, in the process of fishing.
Yeah.
So if you had several, I think that's probably enough for the day, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get to see that today or tomorrow. Have him tie some flies and make horsehair lines.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Did his father hunt bear as well as fish for iwana? or is this something we can ask him?
I know this region is famous for bear hunting, but I
Right.
don't know if his father was one of those hunters.
Right, right.
Matagi.
Matagi.
Yeah. No, they hunted in groups.
Yeah.
You know, people chasing bear into the narrow valley, and you know, people would be positioned to shoot the bear.
Mm.
So thered be 25, 30 people hunting for one bear,
Yeah.
and they'd spend 2-3 weeks in the snow-covered mountains in the wintertime.
Would they fish to kind of support themselves then while they're out?
If they ran out of food, in the summertime they would catch iwana
Yeah.
and put them in smaller creeks where if there aren't any iwana then, like above fish stopping waterfalls,
Right, right.
they would
right.
carry fish up above that to make sure they had food if they in case of emergency.
Wow.
So that's why we find iwana in places above
yeah,
the
yeah,
fish stopping waterfalls.
yeah.
So, bit of stocking going on.
Yeah. But that probably was practiced for centuries. So, we've been living on this island for I don't know 50,000, 100,000 years maybe. So we've been not managing but possibly altering the wilderness for quite some time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
there's, that's quite a revelation right there.
Mm.
Does that mean that quite a few of the Genru streams, the fish are actually introduced by people as
Possibly.
a sort of emergency food supply?
Possibly.
That's,
Possibly.
yeah, wow.
It's fiendish.
So of course, because in our cultural values, we are part of the nature.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There is no separation between the wilderness
Yeah.
and people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's fiendishly clever because you kind of people are familiar with the idea of food caches. If you Arctic explorers or whatever, kind of burying food or storing food, but producing a self-renewing cache that'll breed, make
Right.
more of itself
Yeah.
over time, so it's there when you need it.
Right, and life was difficult. Like one
Yeah.
village perished, in
Yeah.
the winter, so they couldn't be like, okay, we need to preserve this wilderness, so let's not,
Yeah.
alter the wilderness or anything. Just out of the need that
Yeah.
they had to do it.
Yeah.
So this way.
It is a very sort of first world problem to have, isn't it?
Mhm.
Maintaining the status quo with your environment and sort of drawing an arbitrary line of what's right and what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We have the luxury of that in the modern world, but
Right.
Or having a population of humans that's big enough to make those and to have to be aware of those
Yeah.
impacts, rather than just being part of the environment.
A lot
Yeah.
of people in the West, when they think of Japan, they think of Tokyo, Shibuya, and all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
high tech, the industries. But like I told you guys before, 73% of Japan is mountainous
Yeah.
terrain, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of small villages and towns in the mountains, still living semi close to what they used to, maybe till a century ago.
Yeah.
And their lives are not easy.
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember you saying that it was only fairly recently that other causes of death overtook starvation in Japan. Like that very recently.
I think the 1930s or 40s. Yeah.
It's incredible. And I remember you saying as well that it's not uncommon for the village settlements to largely be kind of family groups, or certainly a lot of kind of there's not many opportunities for people to find partners to marry outside of the area, so there's a lot of kind of breeding in between sort of small groups of people.
Yes, because girls from the towns below, they didn't want to come up here.
Yeah.
So they have to figure out ways to keep the village going.
Yeah.
And so they, everybody's, other families' child was, your responsibility too. They grew, they raised each other's child and they worked as a community.
Yeah.
So the village as a whole was a big family, right?
Yeah. I mean, that puts some extra context
that's
on
not-
the families that maybe perished in
Right.
Akiyamago.
So Japan's a small country, but depending on where you are, the belief system, the culture, practices are very different.
Mm.
You can't just look at one thing and decide that okay, that it's the same for the rest of the country. So
Yeah.
it's starting to get even more windy.
Yeah,
Narrower.
I think, that it's a sign that we can't be far off. I think we can probably round it up there. And next stop, Akiyamago, and
We'll see what's around the
yeah.
next bend. Do you
Yeah.
want to see what I did
Yeah,
there?
my goodness.
Ah!